Great. Hey, I'm Sarah. I'm a writer and a creative writing coach, and I'm also a storyteller. I recently put one of my stories on YouTube. It's a work in progress, and I was asked to talk a little bit about my process. I turn real life stuff that happens to me into stories. It's not fictional. And there are lots of folks out there who do similar things. Some people who do journaling every day or free writes or like a morning pages type of writing. And they're curious about how to turn that type of writing into a story, a cohesive story. But I thought I would just pass along a few of the tips that work for me in terms of how to mine my journaling, my introspective, real life writing into stories that might have a broad appeal, stories that I could perform in front of audiences, stories that I hope will touch and inspire people. So I have some tips to pass along, and I also have my journal that I was keeping that whole time while I was working on that piece. And I think it would be interesting to look back and maybe share some bits that came out in the 2-month process of discovering what was going on for me and then shaping it into a story. So the first tip that I have is to write every day. And it's really no surprise. That's sort of the center point message of all of the work that I do. Rewrite Yourself is a journal that I created to help people write every day. I write every day. And even if it's not for hours and hours of writing, I do sit down and do writing every day. I write by hand. I write with a pen on paper, and some people choose to do typing. But there's a lot of science out there that shows how the brain lights up differently, and more imagination, more creativity can come out when doing handwriting. So I won't go into all that right now. Maybe I'll make another video about that sometime. But I really do find that I get to know myself a lot better when I do handwriting, and I do it every day. And I just set up a pattern to do that. And setting up a pattern is related to the next tip that I have, which is defend your time. Defend your writing time. Setting up a time to do that and scheduling a time to do the writing every day is a really great way to begin defending your time. And defending the writing time also means prioritizing it over other things. And it means knowing ahead of time that I'm going to be writing for this chunk of time every day, every morning, and I'm not going to schedule things that are going to conflict with that. It's going to take my priority. I'm going to defend it if people are trying to, make me schedule my time differently, or if there's something that comes up. Obviously, if there's an emergency, we can't do anything about that, or if there's something really critical that's coming up, I have to move things around. But otherwise, I'm really going to defend that time. And that means also defending that time against myself, because I'm going to be the number one person trying to talk myself out of sitting down to do that writing. So defending that time, if that means putting it in my calendar so I can see it, if that means writing a note to myself, putting a sticky note in my bathroom or something. I don't happen to use those tricks. I know other people who do. I just know that when I wake up, after I let the cat out, I'm going to sit down to write. And that's what I do, and I have to defend that time. So my third tip when it comes to turning journaling writing into a story is to pick a focus. It is pretty squishy. Doing journaling and doing introspective writing and asking ourselves on the inside what's going on for me today it can look like a real jumbled mess. It can look like lists of things to do. It can look like a bunch of worries. It can look like memories. It can look like plans for the future. It can look like all kinds of things. So what I really like to do is once I find something that seems to be a repeating theme over days and weeks, I will really focus on that, and I'll kind of let other things take care of themselves while I really continue to focus. And so then that leads into the fourth tip that I have, which is get curious. And that is definitely, maybe that goes hand in hand with picking a focus. Getting curious about my topic and not making assumptions about it based on what I think I know, what I've experienced in the past, what I've witnessed other people live through or work through. Getting curious means setting aside what I think I know and making space for a new way of looking, a new way of thinking, a new way of writing, and making space for new metaphors, new connections. Getting curious means asking questions and asking the same question sometimes over and over again and keeping that curiosity up. Okay, so I don't really know what else to say about getting curious. It means not rushing to an answer is really what getting curious and staying curious means. I might feel like I'm finding an answer, and it's very tempting nowadays with, the internet and YouTube and everything, just to type in the question and see what the answer is. But when it comes to doing writing, journaling, and finding out about myself, the answer is going to be on the inside of me, not necessarily coming from the outside. So while all of those things outside of me, and including other people's opinions, could be really interesting, coming to an answer isn't going to serve a story. Coming to an answer quickly isn't necessarily going to serve my protagonist, which is me. So getting curious, getting the sense that there's a lot more that I could say about that. So I might make another video about that. Okay, my fifth tip is to get feedback. And maybe that feels contradictory to what I was just saying about not necessarily listening or letting in the answers from other people all the time. But being intentional about asking for feedback and getting feedback, and being intentional about who I'm asking for feedback. Whom? So getting intentional about getting feedback is a really critical part of shaping journaling writing into a story. So once I take sort of a chunk of my material and start to form it and shape it, maybe a character comes out, maybe some dialogue comes out, and maybe the protagonist, me, has some kind of beginning of a journey. And I want to see if this is making sense and if an audience can kind of follow that. I have a handful of, God bless them, I have a handful of very creative artist friends that I can reach out to and read my stuff to. It's always best for me to do it live in person in front of a person so I can really watch them and see their reactions. So getting their live biofeedback is really best if I can get them live nowadays. If not, then we'll set up something over Zoom so that they can see me, because so much of what I'm doing is in my body and in my face when I'm telling a story. So I want them to get the full picture. And the feedback, there is a portion of the creating time when I need nothing but positive feedback in the form of keep going, oh my gosh, this is great, yes, you've really got some material here, mine that, go for it, go, keep going. And I need that type of feedback for about, I would say, the first 60% of my process. And then for the, I would say 30 to 40% of my process, I need a different type of feedback Some people might call it critical feedback. I just need to know, what do you not get? What is not connecting? What do you not understand? Where am I losing you? Where are you not seeing or hearing what I'm giving you? Where are you confused? And I really don't need to hear for the last 30-40% of my process. I really don't need to hear, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. I really need to hear, I got lost. I didn't understand that connection. I don't see where you're going. How does that connect to this? That's what I need to hear. So I have like I said, I'm blessed to have a couple of friends, and I think it's possible to get feedback like that from just one person. If you're taking a class from someone who you really respect, whose writing or performance style you really admire, you can get feedback from one person. But I've found it to be really good to get a variety of people's reactions, and that'll really help me to shape it. It's not dissimilar to how a stand-up comedian works, where they need to put new material in front of an audience to see whether or not they laugh, and to see whether or not they're paying attention and listening and leaning in. So nowadays, artists, performers, we have to be creative about how we do that, because we can't be in front of a live audience all the time. So get yourself a good friend, someone who is willing to listen, and someone who's willing to change direction when you realize that you're needing something different in terms of feedback. If you're needing encouragement, tell them that you just want to get encouragement. And if you're looking for something else, tell them that. Tell them when you need something else. And then, just stop. This is my last tip. Tip number 6 is to set a deadline and just go to that deadline. There's something about having a deadline that makes us makes me, I guess, as a writer, it makes me It's like putting the sandwich all together. Everything's always a food metaphor with me. The deadline is critical. And it's not just a day. It's not just Saturday, this Saturday or next Saturday or some Saturday. It's that actual day, on the 1st of October or whatever that is going to be. By 1 p.m., I'm going to, what am I going to do? Am I going to press the send button to send it out to someone? Am I going to press the record button to record something for the world? Am I going to start the Zoom chat with everyone there who's going to hear it? Am I going to open the door and let my friends in to see what I've made? What is that thing that's going to happen at that time on that day? I need that. Of course, my phone. Of course. So those are my tips. That's how I turn my journaling and my daily writing into stories. So I'll be making another video all about the specific things that happened along the way in my writing for the work in progress piece that I put out. And there will be some little snippets of the characters and some of the things that didn't make it into the story. And I'll be going through some of that in another video. And I hope you'll hang around and keep on coming back. And until then, write on, and see you next time. Bye. Hello? Okay. Let's do that all over again right now. Okay. Great. Those are my tips. That's how I turn my daily writing and my personal journaling. That's how I turn